Hello and welcome to the Soul Freedom series. I'm so excited about today. My guest today, Matt Andrews, is a channel for Mantara, a group of light beings on a higher plane. He's actually one of them. Mantara's mission is to bring transformation through expansion to all who feel drawn to this experience. Expansion is a very simple process of opening up and moving beyond what has kept us limited, being open to the possibility that we are far more powerful and capable than we have been led to believe, expanding beyond our thoughts and beliefs of who we thought we were and how we relate to that which surrounds us. So with that, Matt, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Sister Demetria. Thank you very much. Very happy to be here on this new moon day. New moon's in about, I can't remember exactly, about 90 minutes or so. I'm not keeping astrology too close at hand, but yeah. So it's powerful. And for many of us, it's a little uncomfortable, right? The lead into new moon is always a lot of old death, unfortunately, or fortunately. It's a time of purification, right? We're starting a new cycle, and to start a new cycle, we need to let go of the old cycle. And these are only 28-day cycles, but the last 28 days has been significant, and the next 28 days is going to be significant as well. And so it's big. It's big. So yeah, if you're feeling a little tired or a little bit run over by a truck right now, then you've got a good excuse. So take a deep breath and give yourself some space.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of amazing. When we scheduled this, I really actually didn't know about all of these astrological configurations. And I just saw a couple different things about, there was this huge CME yesterday, I guess, like a big light blast coming in, and super new moon in Scorpio. And there's also something about the sun in Uranus. So yeah, and it's crazy. I think I forwarded you something that I received this morning, and it was literally an email I received said, this is a time for liberation from victimization. And then the other part of the email was, because of the sun, this is the time to receive light language, like the sun's language. Yeah. Which is exactly what we're doing today. So, so let me just start off with the topic, and then I'll let you take over. Okay? Does that sound good? Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if you want me to take over, but we can co-create something, I'm sure.
Co-create. I love it. I love it. Take it from there. All right. That's actually a perfect statement, what you just what you just stated. So anyone who's tuning in probably knows that our topic is about the false guru program. And we have witnessed this in many different sectors of society, right? So I think the most extreme is like the monarchy, right? The king and the queen, and everybody else is kind of beneath. We see it in corporate America, quite extreme. You have a small group of people at the top and lots of people at the bottom, almost like a dinosaur, right? Like a dinosaur has a small head and a really large body. And then it also shows up as spiritual teachers, which is kind of the trickiest one, right? Because a lot of times it starts off with this really benevolent and really pure intention and pure energy. And then suddenly the program starts coming in. So it's important to, I want to emphasize that this is not about pointing to any, or, pointing fingers to any specific individuals. Okay, this is really about speaking into a program. And as we speak into it and bring in the light language, it's dissolving the program so that we can come together with a more harmonious distribution of energies and resources as we're co-creating this new, you could say new, but also really just more original form of being, an earth template that we've always wanted and that we've always really been a part of and want to see around us. So with that, I'm going to let Matt kind of add his input and his light language and whatever he feels is appropriate right now.
Awesome. So we'll have a bit of a discussion before we get into light language. I'll try not to do light language too early, or we'll all be, that's it. Once we do that, it's finished. There's very little discussion that happens afterwards. But I think it's important for people to understand that this is not, this guru mentality, this handing over of our power is systemic throughout our society. Like our whole society is structured in a pyramid currently, and it's a very, very pointy top, right? Very small amount of individuals at the top have a huge amount of power of an enormous base. And there's, of course, various levels through that. And this has been in place for many thousands of years on this planet. Many thousands of years this has been growing. But we always go through periods of darkness, right? They come around every 25,000 years or so on this planet as we go through various seasons. We circle through the galaxy. This last period of darkness has been very masculine, very shadow masculine in its makeup, and the masculinity loves structure. And so we've been very much structured in shadow, and that's come about looking like a very authoritarian control of society. So we've had these power structures interwoven throughout our society, right, from the very larger ones of the monarchy and that, but all the way down right into family structures, right, the head of the family being the male, It's all been this funneling of power upwards through individuals. And so this has happened in our spirituality and in our religion as well. We've seen, like how the church is arranged with this power structure. It comes down from the Pope through the various levels of bishops and archbishops to priests and dioceses and down to the humble person sitting in the pew, handing their money over or whatever, and feeding this whole structure with their energy and their devotion. Not that energy and devotion is wrong, and not that the teachings that are coming down aren't valuable, right? They've all been valuable. And through this period of time on the planet when it has been so dark, these structures have actually served us to keep us safe and functional through a very dark period of time, where we have been cut off a lot from our heart, just naturally through the density of the vibration that's been existing here. So the point I want to make out is it hasn't been wrong. What we've been experiencing hasn't been wrong, but it is time for a change. And we are currently shifting out of that dynamic, shifting out of the pyramid and back into a circle, or more correctly, into a spiral, right? We're moving back into spiral configurations for how society is going to function and coming out from under the pyramid. And so, we're talking about this false guru, but really we're talking about the guru principle in general has had its day. It's not just false gurus, it's all gurus are coming to an end, but not in the pure sense of the word. Guru basically means from light to darkness, right? No, the other way around, from darkness to light. Let's get that correct. And so all of us in our own way are gurus, and that's a lot about what I really desire, what Mantara is really desiring to steer this conversation, is to help us all come back into our own authority, to becoming our own authority again, the author of our own life, and to stop projecting this savior mentality to something that is potential, is in our mind more evolved than us or more expert than us. We're seeing this so clearly in our society right now, where everyone's deferring to the experts, wanting to absolve themselves of taking any responsibility for their lives, right? Trying to deburden themselves from getting it wrong, because none of us feel that we can make a good decision, or very few of us feel that we can make a good decision at the moment, especially from our mind, because the world is so chaotic and uncertain. And so to progress, we're going through a natural dissolution of this power structure, and gurus are no longer the highest form of spiritual advancement, whether they be a very benevolent, heartfelt guru, or whether, quote unquote, a false guru, someone who is, and where do you draw the line there, right? Which being on this planet is beyond any form of influence of their own ego, and et cetera, right? So it all comes in shades. It's very hard to say who's a real guru and who's a false guru. All gurus have a degree of personality, and all gurus have a seed of truth and essence in what they do. Very few people show up and get the status of guru if they have absolutely nothing to offer. They all have something to offer, but many of us have grown. I've spent 16 years working under a guru, right? I know gurus, don't worry. I had a very strict yogic background, from 1996 through to 2012. I know the process, and I know how much I gained. And yet I still came to the point where I had to outgrow what was clearly corrupt, right? Clearly corrupt. So the point is not to get too caught up in trying to decide whether your guru is a true guru or a false guru, but to understand that we're all evolving out of needing gurus so much, whatever the guru is. And I'm not just talking about people who proclaim themselves to be a guru, but any form of advocating your power to something that is potentially, or in your perception, more expert than you, or more advanced than you, or more whatever, more light-filled than you, because it's not the truth. It's not the truth. Each and every one of us, individuation of God source universe, is exactly the same at our core. We all have different histories. We're all at different stages on our path. We can all learn something from each other. That is the truth. And that's why the spiral works so well. That's why the round table is a much more appropriate mechanism for working forward today, rather than the pyramid, right? Rather than the leader disseminating information to the managers, who disseminate information to the organizers, who disseminate information to the plebs, right? The sheep, the whatever at the bottom. That's finished, and it's going to fall apart in a rather spectacular fashion, but nonetheless, it's falling apart. Do you have anything to add, Demetria? How are we going?
Oh my gosh, you're reading my mind, because it's been so perfect, but as you're saying that, something really wants to come. So there's this is what's been really common. I feel it's important to speak into, that I keep seeing. It's 3 common things. Okay. Yeah. First of all, they have a story. They have a creational story where it's like they have special memory, special gifts, special information that is going to save humanity. Okay. And it's usually somebody charismatic, and they are here to save you, prepare you for a specific date in the future. And I feel like that's really important. Don't you feel that that's important to see that? Because it's sort of like a carrot dangling. So they're continually pulling you out of the present power that you have, and focusing you on the future. So I think
that's pretty common on the planet. And we're seeing that not just in spiritual leaders, but also in our political leaders and our social leaders as well. There's the same mechanism at place. That they've created a narrative to gather the power, right? To focus the energy on them and what's going on, and how they're going to steer us through these troubled times.
Yeah, and I want to say, I love what you said, how we all have it. Like the map of our soul has everything we need. The sun, like if you want to prepare your light body, thank you, the carrot. If you want to prepare your light body, the sun, go out in the sun, go out in nature, gather together in communities like what we're doing, where it's like, it's an even distribution, everyone is honored. It's not like this, like exactly like the pyramid you said. So anyways, I'll let you take it away. That's what.
Sure. So we have to be aware that our little human self, our little personality, desires to be looked after by something that's bigger than us. we love that idea. We love to have to let go of this burden that we feel is our responsibility to make the right decisions and to progress through a process that we don't understand. So the idea of a teacher coming along and giving you a blueprint to take you through that is incredibly alluring, and incredibly to the ego is, you know, very, very very satisfying. You know, we love it. We love this idea. And many of us have subjected ourselves to this on various degrees, varying degrees, whether it's a business coach, even same idea. Like, many of us as heart-centered beings who want to share our light more know that we don't understand business so well. So we look for someone who is an expert to show us, but they show us from their way, which doesn't really align with how we want to be in the world. Then we try and shoehorn ourselves into doing it their way, and it doesn't work for us because it's out of alignment with our truth. It's always going to be that way if you try and work under a guru, because they can only teach you, even if they're the most heart-centered guru in the world. And many of these people who, as Demetria said, have this story, this creation, they're in their own delusion. They don't come along to deliberately suck people dry. That's not, I don't believe many of them come in with that intent.
Originally,
they come in to serve people,
right?
But they're deluded in themselves, you know, and other people are very happy to hand them their power because they buy into that delusion because it feels good to their ego. And this monster is created, right? I saw it in my own guru, huge amount of spiritual desire to help humanity, and yet corrupted by the organization that he built beneath him. You know, and then lost in it, and then doesn't have the integrity to break down what is clearly going wrong at this stage, because they get lost in the power. So the point being is, it's not the guru's fault. It's those who give our power away, right? So don't feel like you're the victim of someone who is trying to become the guru of you. No one generally says, hey, I'm your guru, subject yourself to me. You come to them and you ask them to look after you, and then you wonder why it all goes horribly wrong. So the point is for us to be aware of our own insecurities that lead us to wanting to have someone looking after us who we believe is benevolent, because no one is that benevolent. Very few people on this planet can cope with that level of responsibility for looking after all of these people who are subjecting themselves, surrendering themselves at their feet. It is just a crazy, crazy setup. And so, but we can understand how it's developed and why it keeps developing, and what is, you know, propelling it. So for us awakening, it's not that we need to go down tearing down the gurus. It's that we need to step into our own authority and not need a guru anymore, and to help others to understand that, not through standing on a soapbox and preaching and teaching the dangers of gurus, but to actually remind people that although we're all insecure in ourselves on a personality level, but that's normal. And we don't need someone to tell us what to do to keep us safe. All we need to do is start trusting our own heart and working through the process of dealing with our own mental insecurities and doubts and fears and all of the rest of it. Yeah. Am I on track, Demetria?
Yeah, you are right on track. Yeah. And I was just thinking how, you know, it's no one's fault, right? It's ultimately, it's no one, right? We all kind of,
not a bad thing. It's part of progress. It's part of our evolution.
We played the game. Yeah. Like we created the game to kind of know ourselves on a higher level, right?
That's right. We're having experiences that help us develop as a human, as a spiritual being having a human experience. This guru experience, right, giving our power away, is a beneficial one, because then we get to regain our power, and we've learned and we've gained a bunch of wisdom about that. That's the process, right? So we don't need to make this whole thing as wrong, but we have to understand that at this time on the planet right now, we are all being helped to grow out of this, and helped to grow out of this is not always a comfortable experience, right? The structure of the pyramid is falling apart rather spectacularly on the planet right now, politically and, you know, governance wise, it's falling apart. And in some ways that is leading more people to wanting a spiritual guru at this time, because they're losing their faith in their external structure of government and society. And so they're looking now for someone spiritually to look after them. They realize there's a huge awakening occurring and they don't feel they're capable of doing it. So the false guru is sort of getting this last little sort of peak.
That's it. Yep.
Right, as the guru mentality is falling apart
It's
collectively.
almost like the final stage.
It's a final stage. So it can be even more, as you said, the stories that are now being accepted as valid, right? These creation stories and these near-death stories and these how I've been gifted with the codes stories, right, are getting even more flamboyant, more unbelievable. But yet people are buying it because the world's so messed up right now. I nearly said the F word. They're so messed up right now that is appealing, that is acceptable. Well, why not, right? The world's so chaotic. I can believe that. I can believe this person is the reincarnation of Christ and has got the codes and is going to help me, right?
Yeah.
Right now, I'm prepared to believe that because
and if I
everything
give
else
them
has gone to
enough
rack
money,
and ruin.
if I give them enough money and enough of my energy, well, I'll be as special too. You know, I get to be part of this really special and elite group, right?
I'll feel some belonging when I don't feel belonging anywhere else.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. And so we have to, recognize this within ourselves, this desire to have something bigger than ourselves look after us. And then we need to maintain awareness of where we might fall into doing something not so beneficial for ourselves, at least in the shorter term, is being inspired by.
And as we come together like this, it's like this, and the light is so powerful right now. There's like this amplified presence that's rising up, this collective field of presence. And all that is not love, right? All that is not like the truth of who we are, which is empowered, loving, and wise beings coming together hand in hand, and anything that's not that is simply dissolving into that.
Yeah. And you say simply dissolving, but it's rather a messy dissolution process, right? Where it just doesn't simply dissolve. It comes up to be, experienced a few more times, right? We get choice as to whether we let go of it or not. So it's trying to dissolve. Its time has come to an end, but it doesn't just disappear quietly. It gives us opportunities to reflect on whether this works for us or not.
That's a very important add. Thank you for adding that. Yes.
Yeah. So don't. A lot of people. I see a lot of people sort of, in this almost this false guru mentality, right? Saying, don't worry, the light has already won, the light is victorious and all the rest of it. And everyone thinks, oh, good, I'll just hide until it's all finished, then I can come out. No, we can't just hide through this. This is our time to step up and be our own authority in the world and stand for what we align with. Yes, the light is coming through more strong and the light will win. The light will win, but that doesn't mean humanity will be saved. Right? The light cannot lose here, but we're not working for the saving of the light. The light doesn't need saving. We're working to save humanity right now. We're working to uplift humanity into that light. And so while the light can't lose, that's not really why we've chosen to incarnate on Earth right now. Yeah, we're beings of light, and yes, the light coming through is very satisfying for us. But we're also most of us who are here, especially on this call right now, are very much in alignment with wanting to uplift humanity into a more light-filled experience. And so that means we actually have to get out and face the shadows and do the work and show up, walking in alignment with the light that we feel is coming in. We can't just hide away and expect the light to just do all the work for us, because that's not how it works here on Earth.
That is 100% showing up, being honest, speaking what needs to be spoken, which is also what we're doing now. Just FYI, I have a limited time.
I know, you've got to do the light language, right?
So, yeah, I think I have about maybe 10 more minutes. So I just don't want to cut off.
You ready for it?
We're ready.
Right, so make yourselves comfortable, my friends. If any of you haven't heard my light language, just be prepared. It is rather fast, rhythmic, hypnotic. You might feel a little shaken. So, but that's all okay. It's all okay. So your job is just to allow the language to create conditions for you that is conducive for your higher self coming in And our intent is really to help you find the deep level of empowerment to come up for you to expand out beyond needing a guru, needing a savior. And for that to happen, we're going to have to shake loose some of the old disempowered vibrations in your field, some of these fears and these doubts and these programs that you have running that are perpetuating you submitting yourself to something that seems more advanced than you. These are deep programs and these are strong programs. So just be aware that it might not feel so comfortable as we expose them. Your job is to stay in confidence that no matter how uncomfortable it might feel, that everything is going well, that everything is appropriate, that everything is serving you, not to freak out that you are having experiences, thoughts or feelings, emotions or physical sensations that don't feel comfortable. Allow that to be part of your clearing and trust that this is instigating a process of you really finding your true authorship, your own authority from within you, so that you don't need any external guru authority to save you. So take some deep breaths, allow yourself to relax and trust. As this language comes washing through, just relax into it, let it carry you in a little process of awakening the stronger light from within you, from a space of love with love. Mantara. Relax. Relaxing into a space that is very safe. Cocooned in the light. Held by your team. Allow yourself to dissolve in that cocoon. Like the caterpillar, going through the process of metamorphosis. You must be willing to lose your form, lose your story, lose your identification with your history. The time for eating leaves is finished. You're progressing. Trust that it's your higher guidance, your higher self, God, source, divinity, that holds the blueprints for you turning into a butterfly. It's not me. It's not Mantara. It's not anything that's separate from you. Your spiritual evolution, your ascension, is held by you. Not necessarily your little personality, but the being that you be. You need no other being in your life. Yes, of course, we can all co-collaborate, working together to inspire each other. But ultimately, it all comes from you. So as you're floating here, feeling a little bit mushy, allow your higher self to work back through the pages of history. Identifying experiences that you've had in the past, earlier this lifetime and much before, where you have been indoctrinated, where you've been educated, where you've been implanted with the beliefs that you are not worthy, not capable, of looking after yourself, physically, mentally, emotionally, and most importantly, spiritually, energetically. Removing these old programs. Removing and releasing, letting go and allowing integration of the pains and the traumas that you carry that have been used to hold these programs in place. This desire to have a guru, a teacher, a mentor, someone to look after you. Allow the light to arise from within you. Allow yourself to find, to reconnect with this source of your own confidence. Not a mental, brash, egoic confidence, but a deep-seated, energetic, authentic confidence in the being that you be, so that you can rise in your power and expand out of the need to give away your power, to give away your authority, and allow ourselves to work together. We don't need to be independent. It's not about doing it alone. You don't need to prove yourself in that way. We're all going to work together. We're all going to support, inspire and support each other. Working together in community, in circle, in spiral, inspiring ourselves to keep expanding in our knowledge and in our mana, our light, our presence, our power. We're expanding, working together in community, in communion. There is no point to our spiral. It's not a pyramid. There's no head. No one is more important than anyone else. Everyone has something to offer. Everyone has an equal part to play. Of course, people will have their turns to speak. People will have their turns to lead even. But that leadership will not be absolute. Everyone has their own unique individual point of expertise, gifts to share. And as we work together, honoring each other's ability to help in certain circumstances, power is equally distributed. Breathe with the process. With each inhalation, with each inspiration, you feel more powerful in your core. With each exhalation, you allow yourself to become free from these programs. The false guru programming, the insignificant self program, the wounded healer program, the subservient people pleaser program, the martyr program, allow yourself to visualize the pyramid crumbling and the spiral emerging. Allow yourself to focus your attention on what we are choosing to create, rather than on what we recognize as the problems. The old, what is falling apart. We don't need to fight what is already falling apart. We simply need to advocate for what we know is emerging. Direct your energy into what you are creating. And just be an allowance that we will all keep progressing through the process of feeling, experiencing what is still falling away as we progress through this transformational time. Understanding that it is not comfortable. And so it is. Trust. Trust in the loving presence of the light in your life. You are loved and you are supported every step of the way. As so it is so now, always, and in all ways. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Much love, my friends. We just snuck it in on time. As always, if you have any questions of me, I know most of you are going to be out to the count, but if you do have any questions of me, please feel free. You can always reach out in some way, either email me, mantara@mantara.nz, or reach out via Facebook, Matt Andrews, or if you want to join my free support group, it's the Bright Light Beings. Actually, I don't think there's a the in there. I think it's just Bright Light Beings. Just join that group and I will admit you, and you can connect that way, or go to my website. If you're looking for a beautiful MP3 of light language called Stepping Into Your Personal Power, which is much in alignment with what we just did, you can go to mantara.nz and click on that link and give me your email address and we'll send it to you straight away. Anything else, Demetria, in our last 1 minute?
That was perfection. You absolutely, like, right on target. That was exactly what we need at this time. May we remember who we are. May we remember the true power that we are within that does not corrupt. True power is incorruptible.
Correct.
And you just reminded us of that in the most exquisite way. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, my blessing. Thank you for giving me the potential to, come and play my role in this spiral.
In the spiral, I know, I love it. The spiral that inspires and it doesn't have a point. So I love that, and bless everyone who's showed up at this moment. It's very powerful. We will both be sending out the replay that you can listen to, and for anybody that doesn't know me, you can find me at liveyoursoulsdream.com. But we have less than a minute. This is perfect, and Matt, I look forward to doing this again at some point.
For sure.